All right. Welcome, everybody. This is a follow-on to our 2025 Minnesota Mini. I did a class on xLights folder organization, specifically went over options to support multiple holiday shows. So if you're running like Christmas, maybe you also have a Halloween show or Veterans, Valentine's Day, so on, and you're trying to manage all these different shows with different folders or different techniques. We're going to show the latest and greatest from Keith Wesley from a couple of years ago. Invented something called the base shoulder show folder feature, and with this base feature, solves a lot of trouble. So to kind of just go over real quick, reminder about myself. I'm Mr. Creed's Lights up in Albertville, Minnesota. I've been running a show set, light show with sound and animation since 2012. Um, so to kind of go through here a little bit, just as a refresher, the issue is basically you're trying to run multiple holiday light shows from the same residence, and you probably got a mixture of common props, outlines, matrix spinners, moving heads that are not really they're what I call holiday non-denominational, or they're common in nature. They're not specific to any one holiday. And then you probably have some props that are very holiday specific. Tombstones, spiders, bats, snowflakes, candy canes. Those are all very oriented to one holiday or another. So how do we, manage multiple light shows and X lights? There's been three kind of ways folks have kind of tried to do this over time. One is, using previews. We'll go through these. The second one is separate light show folders, and the third is the new base show directory feature. So, yeah, the preview doesn't work really well. Essentially, you can put models in different previews and try to manage this way. The problem with this is it has no relationship to your visualizer or to your controller setup at all. This is just which models are visible at a time in your preview. If you only have a couple of props that are um, different between so if maybe you run Halloween, you have two tombstones or a couple ghosts or something really tiny, the amount of rework to add them into your visualizer is very minimal. Then maybe the preview idea isn't such a bad idea. You can hide um, the Halloween props, a couple of props, hide them during your Christmas show, and vice versa. You can hide the Halloween or the Christmas props when you're doing your Halloween. So if you have a really tiny show, you might get away with this, but again, you're going to be manually making changes to your visualizer for each of your light shows, each of your holiday light shows. So that's not really ideal, especially if your show gets to any size. This is just not amount of manual rework makes this not a scalable option really, and the fact it doesn't keep track of the visualizer or the controller setups is a real problem. The other method, the old method people have been using forever, is just having different show directories. I'll just make a copy of my Christmas, name it Halloween, take the whole folder, get rid of all my Christmas garbage out of there, add in all of my Halloween props, and map everything. And now I have a problem of trying to maintain the common props. So if I make a change to my outline or I add a new, uh, holiday non-specific props, I add like a GE spinner, and I want to use it for Christmas. I want to use it maybe for all of my Halloween holiday shows, right? I want to use it for Christmas, Halloween, Veterans, whatever. Now I've got to go and copy and paste that thing and do the mapping in the visualizer. I need to do that work as many times as I have different holiday light shows. And so that becomes kind of laborious. And then it can also be kind of tedious now because you're having to manually be your own change management, do your own change management for keeping those common props in sync. And so if you make changes or additions to your show annually, then this becomes a whole bunch of extra work in the software that you really just shouldn't have to do. And then that's where the base show folder comes in. With the base show feature, we basically have a way to manage those common props. This was something invented by Keith Wesley a couple of years ago in version 2023.15. And basically, it lets you take your common props and set up and config controllers, visualizer, put it all in your base show directory. And then you'll have holiday specific directories where you will just have the groups and the props and the visualizer changes that are needed for each specific holiday. But you don't have to maintain those, uh, double effort. Instead, the xLights now will merge your base and your holiday specific together to give you a comprehensive show setup where you can now maintain your holiday specific and your common props in one place each and not have to do any of that repetitive maintenance. All right. In the class, we actually went through the basics as if you were starting from scratch and showed how you could add a prop in common and have it show up in the holiday folder, and you could add a prop in the holiday folder and it wouldn't show up in the base and things like that. But the one thing we really wanted to show was um, how if you've already been maintaining multiple folders, you already have a Halloween and a Christmas, how can you get from having separate holiday folders into the base structure without having to rebuild everything? The version we had at the time of xLights had a pretty bad bug and would not let me demonstrate the technique that I've used before. The version that's out now, 2025.5, that bug seems to be fixed, and so I'll demonstrate that here in the video. But just to conceptually go over this before we get into the actual xLights tool, the concept is basically here's your base folder here in green, contains and or owns common props that are not holiday specific. You'll have to make the determination yourself. A great example is a mega tree. Is a mega tree for Christmas only, or is it for Christmas and Halloween? You'll have to make those type of determinations, and then that'll tell you whether the prop needs to live in the base folder and get inherited to the holiday folder, or does the prop not belong in the base folder? If you're only using the mega tree for Christmas, then the mega tree only needs to live in the Christmas holiday folder. But this is just kind of a visual representation, um, of where things are owned or where they live, and that xLights, what it's doing is it's inheriting or merging the information in the base folder in with what you've set up in the holiday folder to give you a complete result, allowing you to maintain holiday specific props in the holiday folders, allowing you to maintain common props in the base folder, and allowing everything to merge together auto magically as xLights does. So with that, we'll actually dive in. We'll leave the PowerPoint behind here, and we will dive into this. Um, so the first thing I wanted to do is we're gonna make sure that all our folders here are emptied out. Yeah, no base, no Christmas, no Halloween. Okay, perfect. And we've got a standalone Christmas and a standalone Halloween. We'll take a quick peek at those right now just so you can kind of see what those look like. So here's the standalone Christmas. It's got some snowflakes, it's got a mega tree and a star, some outlines, and it's also got a few of the common groups to show how this feature works with groups as well. And we've got one controller, and it is all set up. All the props are set up in the visualizer, so that's all there. And then if we go and we look at the Halloween, we're gonna see there's a typo here on outlines. So this is a good example of, you've probably been maintaining two folders and maybe you didn't keep things named exactly the same. And this is going to show up when we go to move to the base feature. So we'll keep an eye out for that. We can also see here that I kind of was lazy. I didn't get my one car outline. I didn't get my porch matrices. There's things that are missing here on this Halloween setup that maybe they were on accident, or I was too lazy to get them in there for the Halloween show. And we'll see how having one common folder, one common base to manage these props will help with that. Okay, so with that all said, we will start by taking our largest show. In this case, our Christmas show has the most props. We just do that out of convenience. We want to get the show that has the most common props, and we want to get that into the base folder. So the RGB effects has your um, props and your group information. Your networks has your controller information. Key bindings, if you have that file, has to do with keyboard shortcuts that I don't think anybody really uses. And then obviously there's a picture of your house or a 3D model of your house you want to move. Those are the things that you need as the bare minimum uh, to create a show folder essentially. So with that, we will now move over and we will set a new permanent spot. Our base will become our new home spot here, so to speak, for permanent. And in our layout now, we can see we have all the same things that we were just looking at um, from the Christmas side. Now, the thing that's interesting about this is we're going to want to take the things that are Christmas specific out, but first we're going to want to inherit those down to the holiday folder. So we're going to change temporarily. We're going to go down to the holiday folder for Christmas. And of course, xLight's saying, hey, there ain't nothing in this folder. Are you sure this is the right spot? We're going to say yes, because we're going to actually turn on the base shell feature. Now I want to show you where you turn this on at. It's in view and it is here in this enable base folder settings. That must be checked. Otherwise you won't get this row right here under show directory, this base show directory. But once you do have that turned on, we will now choose our base directory that we just copied those setup files into. We're going to make that our home. We want it to auto merge every time we come into this Christmas holiday folder. And we're going to manually do the first update. And it's going to have some clashes. This is normal. This is object grid lines. We're just going to inherit that over. It's not a big deal. You probably have two or three of those nag messages if you have 3D set up. Nothing to worry about. Just inherit them from your base. And we can see here our visualizer is all set up. This all got inherited over. And here's our layouts all there. Now, the only thing missing that didn't come over automatically, I do need to define my background. So that's why we copied over. I think we copied over. Oh, we might have forgotten to. Okay. This will be a good time to remember to do that. I need to grab the house picture and paste that over. And I might as well do that on Halloween when we get there. We're going to need it there too. All right. So, with that said, we'll pick that image and we will reduce the brightness on that. Okay. So now we've got all of our Christmas stuff and our common stuff here. Now, this is where we want to start to separate things. I really don't need the common props living here. I just want them inherited. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of get rid of the things that are common that will live in the base folder. And we're going to have the mega tree living in the base folder so it gets inherited for Halloween and Christmas. And we're gonna basically, let's see if I can do that. Well, maybe it won't let me do that all at once. Okay, we'll break this into a couple of pieces then. I don't know if I use the right key on my Mac keyboard here. All right, we're going to unlink these models and we're going to blow them away to start. By unlinking them, we separate them from the actual base folder, and then we could delete them. If we didn't unlink them, we wouldn't be able to delete them. And now we can see we've got, basically just our Halloween things. Now we want to take our Halloween props specific, or our Christmas props rather, that are specific to the holiday, and we want to unlink these as well. And we basically want to unlink these because these are going to be owned and managed by the holiday folder, and they don't need to be linked back to the base folder anymore. And conversely, these other groups that we have are actually going to be managed by the base folder, so we don't need them specifically owned here by the holiday folder. So with that, we now have just the props that are specific to Christmas defined and owned by Christmas. But when we update, we will see that it will merge in. Oh yeah, it's gonna complain. We haven't gotten rid of the models from our base folder yet, so that's what it was complaining about. But right now it merged in everything. So even though we had gotten rid of the ownership aspect, we're still connected to the base folder, so we get all of that importing in, and that's why all the groups came back and all the outlines came back. So now if we go back over, save this up, let's go back to the base. Now the base is going to be the opposite. We're not going to want any of the holiday specific stuff. So we're not going to want the flake group, and we're not going to want any of the flakes, and we're not going to want the star. And we're going to get rid of all those models because those have nothing to do, those are specific to a holiday. And so now we have just the props that we want to use for all the holidays separated out. So now if we go back to our Christmas holiday, we will see that everything is here like it's supposed to be, and it's inheriting in the outlines and the column matrices and the mega tree. And the way you can tell that is they're grayed out. When we try to make changes, you can see they're grayed out. And if you actually right click on one and you see this unlinked from base show folder option, that tells you it's owned and managed by the base folder. Now, if I unlink that tree from the base folder, now it's going to be managed by the holiday specific folder. So you want to be mindful about, uh, having one folder, whether it's the base or a holiday. You want to pick one folder for it to have to be owned and contained in, uh, as far as that goes. And so this takes care of our Christmas. Now our Christmas is set up nicely. We can even go into the visualizer and see everything is nicely mapped out there, just like it's supposed to be. That all got inherited down as part of our config. It merged in. And now we want to go and we want to do the same kind of a thing, but we want to do this for our Christmas. Or I mean for I'm sorry. We want to do this for Halloween at this point. So go back to the base here. Now we have a standalone we have a standalone Halloween show here that we looked at earlier. And we're going to copy those files again, the key bindings, networks, and RGB effects that are specific to our old standalone show. And we're going to copy those into our new base and holiday folder combo. So that's going to go into our Halloween holiday specific. And now we go down to our Halloween. and we need to assign it the base folder so that it will. Now we have to remember before we do this that we already have some props set up here. So there's some duplication that's going to happen, and we want to, do that same cleanup to get rid of the duplicates. So first we're going to attach our base folder, and just to remind everybody that visualizer's all set up, here as far as everything goes. So everything's inheriting down. But we don't really need these common uh, props anymore. So we're going to blow away the windows, and we're going to get rid of the two car, and we're going to delete all of that. And then we're going to go and bring in our base folder here, and we're going to do an update, and that's going to, again, it's going to give us a complaint because we already had a controller defined, and that's okay. We're going to inherit our controller setting from the base folder actually, and we're going to have some duplications on some groups, and that's okay. We're just going to inherit where the names are the same. It's just going to replace those with the definition from the base folder, and that should be fine. Now, we talked earlier about how we had an outlines and an outline. And so in this case, the outlines is the one that has incorrect name, where outline is inherited and managed by the base. So in this case, to clean this up, I'm just going to get rid of the one that's spelled incorrectly, and the one that we'll just go with the one that was inherited from the base. And now we can see here how we've got the tree. We don't have the star. We decided the star was Christmas only, and maybe we want to put something else up there. So we'll do a new download, and we'll get into GE here or somewhere, and we'll do a search for a bat. Maybe we can find a nice big bat. There we go. Do mega bat. There we go. And we'll just put mega bat at the top of our tree. Okay, so now we've put our bat in there. All right. And we want to add him to our visualizer. And we also want to get our mega tree back in there. Okay. Oh, and we had some props. This is where there were more props defined from Christmas than there were. Uh, so the layout that we had before in our base folder, it doesn't exactly work. And this is where it allows us to make changes. So we can actually, this is where you want to be a little mindful. Maybe I want to put my column matrices, ahead, and maybe I want to put my tree, maybe I want to put that a little farther down in the mix so I don't run into collisions with it. But this is where it does allow you to change the visualizer, and it can be different in your holiday than what it is in the base, and it can be different in each holiday folder from each other and different from what's in the base. So you have infinite flexibility there. But now if we go back to our base folder, you'll notice the bat doesn't show up and none of our spiders show up, and just the stuff that we're managing. And if I was doing this for real, the one thing I would probably do is in the visualizer, I would probably take the mega tree. I would probably put it down a little bit further. Maybe I put it on port 17 or something. I've got a 32 port controller here. And then maybe I put the matrix left and right. And then I'm leaving some room here for some other props to go in without interrupting myself with that big long mega tree strand. So if I do something like that, I make a change like that, we can go back to Christmas and see if that caused any actual impact to anything. And It didn't really cause any impact. We never did map out our flakes, so we're probably going to want to stick our flakes together here. Oh, looks like maybe we had a few flakes, and the mega tree star looks like it got in the way here. And so this is why whenever you do this for the first time, you really want to check your visualizer and make sure that things are set the way that you want them to be. Oh yeah, we have 4 and 5 too here. All right, so now we have everything in the visualizer, and we've got our outline stuff. Then we have some of our holiday specific stuff, and then we've got our mega tree kind of at the end since it's a big block. And anyway, so we've got all that defined and everything's set up and inheriting nicely. Looks good. And if we go over to controllers and we change to the Halloween, we can see it looks good. It's all set up nicely. It's inheriting everything over from the base. And we can check our visualizer change that we made. And maybe we move our mega back close to the mega tree since that's where it lives. And looks like the only thing we maybe didn't get totally defined here was we never went in here and really tweaked our spiders. So we'll put our spiders in here. There we go. All right. And so that's all saved up and done. So that's pretty much everything. So the steps here, again, it's really all about using a copy of the files from your standalone, using your networks and your RGB effects from your standalone. Take your biggest show, probably for most of us that's Christmas, copy those to your base, get them inheriting down to your Christmas, and then do the work to get them separated. Delete. After you get your Christmas, you get your Christmas specific props unlinked from the base folder, and then you can delete the common stuff out. Then you can bounce back to your base folder and basically delete out the Christmas specific stuff from the base. And then you can, once you've got all that done, then you can drop your Halloween stuff in and basically cut out your common props from Halloween and get those inheriting in from the base instead, and then you're good to go. And so that's how you can convert from multiple separate show folders into the base directory setup. So with that, if there's any questions, let me know, guys. Sorry for this being a long one, but we covered a lot and appreciate your time. Let me know if there's any questions and I'll reply to you guys. And if you need to, we can always do a Zoom session too if anybody's stuck. See you guys later. One additional thing I forgot to mention when we were looking at the groups. Some groups may be shared, I guess, would be the right way to say it, between the base folder and the holiday folders. So a good example would be like the all house group, for instance. Here, if we were to go to the base folder, you'd see the all house group, has these items, but really for all house, when we're down the holiday folder, I really need to add the spiders and the web as an example. So I really need to grab all of this, and I really need to add that to the all house, to the all pixels both. And now when I do that, now I have a more accurate view. And then my bat that we added, mega bat, obviously it needs to get added. So there is some group maintenance that you need to kind of be aware of, especially if you're going to do this totally clean and have like your all pixels and all house and some of these common groups. If you're going to have them owned by the base folder and inherited down, that'll get you your common props added, but you'll still have to do a one-time addition of your holiday specific props. Like here we did, the spiders, group. If you do Christmas first, it's going to be fine. But for each additional holiday you add, you're probably going to need to double check your groups and make sure they look right. So anyway, that's the extra tip here for the to wrap this up. So happy lighting, everybody.